Okay, so last night I brought my bike home with the brand new tires on it, and in this video we're going to be discussing which tires I chose and how everything went. As you can see, it's a bit of a damp morning. You're going to see a lot of fog and there's going to be some moisture on the lenses. It's about 44 degrees and I'm headed out to work, and we're going to call this our first ride on the tires, even though I did go 1.5 miles last night to bring it home from the dealership in the dark. So let's discuss what happened, and we'll go from there. Okay, so let's get right to the meat of the story. After doing some research and listening to some recommendations, decided that I was going to choose the Metzler's Cruise Tech over the Avon Chromes and the Pirelli Night Dragons. And I was pretty happy with this choice. So what I did is I called up to my local dealership, Harley-Davidson of South Austin, who I have a great relationship with, and I really appreciate those guys. And I ordered my tires. The initial expectation was that it was going to take about 30 days to come in. So I patiently waited that 30 days, and as we got close to the date that we were expecting them, I went ahead and checked with the dealership, and they told me, after looking in the system, that unfortunately one of the tires got bumped back approximately another 30 days. Now, I'm in retail sales and I understand exactly what's going on, so I had no problem with this. It is what it is, and we just planned accordingly and decided to wait rather than switching to another tire. Now, luckily the tires did come in about 2 weeks earlier than this new expected date, which made me extremely happy. When I got the notice, I called the dealership and I set up to bring my bike and drop it off the next morning to get those tires installed. Well, morning came, dropped off the bike, and then turned around and went to work. About lunchtime, I called the dealership and said, "Hey guys, how's it going? What time can I expect to pick up the bike? Can't wait to ride on the new tires." And my regular service advisor was on vacation, so it is my first time dealing with a service advisor that ended up helping me in this situation. And he explained to me that there was a bit of a problem, and that was that the tires that they had ordered and had gotten in were actually for a street bob and not a fat bob. So that meant no tires for my bike. So at that point I was like, okay, well, humans make mistakes, things happen, no big deal. How long is it going to take to get the right tires in? To which they then informed me that that was not something I had to worry about, because they had located a front tire and a rear tire in other dealerships here within Texas, and they had sent a runner out to go to these two separate dealerships to pick up the correct tires. And the only downside would be that it would be the very end of the day before everything would be ready for me to pick up. Well, I thought this was extremely good customer service. I was very happy with that, and that they had come up with a solution and went out of their way to take care of me. So I went on about my day. Come time for the end of day, I called before I was leaving work, and they told me my bike would be ready by the time I got there. We had discussed pricing on it, and the pricing seemed incorrect. They wanted to charge me, I think it was somewhere around $800, and I reminded them that I had already paid for the tires, to which he said they'd have it corrected by the time I got to the dealership, so no big deal. I get there, and they hit me with a bill of $280 roughly. Now, the installation should have ran me between $150 and $170 depending on the wheel weights, as we had discussed before taking the bike in. So I questioned the service advisor and I said, hey, that's not what we discussed. Can you explain to me what the situation is? And after he looked into the ticket, it turned out that there was a price difference between the tires. And I can appreciate that. Each bike's gonna have a different cost on their tires. They're different sizes. I get that. However, I was not prepared to pay roughly an extra $120 out of my pocket right at that moment. So I said, look, I completely understand. It's going to take me a couple more days. Just hang on to the bike. I'll come back and get it. No big deal. I just wasn't expecting to pay it out that day. So the service advisor called the parts manager, who is fabulous and knows me well. And Tim, just being Tim and the great guy that he is, said, no, we had committed to a certain thing for the customer, so just give it to him at the price that he paid for the tires. The service advisor reminded him that, or not reminded him, but pointed out that lowering the tires to that price, because I had already had a 25% discount because of the current sale, would end up making the tires below cost. And Tim was like, you know what? That's fine. We got to treat this guy right. And they lowered the tires to what I had paid, which was below cost for them. I was very happy about that, very grateful. I paid for the installation and jumped on the bike and took it home. Now, I may have mentioned it was dark, and that's where the story takes another twist. When I get home, and on the ride home, I started to feel, well, these tires aren't exactly the way I was expecting them to feel, but they were quite a bit better than the tires that I had on there already, and especially since they were worn. So I get home, pull into the lit garage, and lo and behold, they are not the Metzlers that I ordered that are on the bike. They are the original Dunlops that came with the bike. So somewhere in this big jumble of human error, the wires got crossed and they went and picked up Dunlops, not Metzlers, and put Dunlops on my bike. Now, what happens next? And pardon the video, you'll see all the moisture building up on the lens. It should clear off in a few minutes. But so what happened is I sit down and I talked with my wife, and the fact of the matter is that the tires were substantially better than the Dunlops I took off. Not just because of the wear on them, but when I first bought the bike with the brand new tires, and I was the first one to ride it, it had literally 2 miles on it, those Dunlops did not feel as sharp or as grippy as the ones that are on my bike now. And I have an explanation for this. We'll cover that in a few moments. But I did get the Dunlops. They performed better than I expected for the Dunlops. They were below cost, and I knew I could get another 12 to 15,000 miles on them because the ones that they were replacing, I got about 13,500 miles on. So I was okay to just keep those tires, be grateful that I got a really good price on them. Now, the reason that I said that they're different, these Dunlops versus the Dunlops that came on the bike, is having spent 10 years managing auto dealerships in my lifetime, one of the things that I knew from the auto industry, the four-wheel industry, is that manufacturers, when they order their tires, say it's a Bridgestone Potenza or a Michelin, they will order those tires with about 20% more rubber in them than that exact same tire off the shelf, say at a discount tire or whoever sells you your tires. The reason that they do these, they have them specially made with extra rubber in them, extra rubber content, is so that it test drives better. It doesn't mean that it handles better, but it definitely will be softer and more absorbent and pliant. So that's what I expect has happened with these Dunlops, is the ones that get sent to the Harley factory are special ordered to give a certain ride characteristic, versus the ones that come over the shelf are going to be more standardized. And these standardized tires, I feel, ride and handle and corner a lot better than the original factory sent tires. So I'm going to continue to ride on it, and I'll give you some updated impressions here in the future. But as of right now, it's not a Metzler. It's not near the expectation of what I had in my mind for the Metzler tires, but it's not too far off. And at getting them under cost, I mean, you really can't beat that. One of the most important things for me in my motorcycling experiences is how well the dealership takes care of me. And Cowboy Harley of South Austin has always done what's best for the customer. They've always taken extremely good care of me. I've never had any hassles. Yeah, people make mistakes, but what they do after a mistake is made is the difference. So I'm very loyal to this dealership. I'm going to continue to be very loyal to them. I'm looking forward to enjoying the Dunlops that I have on there, and not trying to rationalize things, but I really like the look of the Dunlops for the character of the bike that I'm building. And that was one thing that I was going to miss, and I was prepared to miss it, but I got them still. So we'll go with it, and like I said, I'll continue to update you. Thank you for watching. As you can see from this video, the handling in this wet, gross pavement at high speed and going around the corners that I did, and the different texture lanes changes, that the handling has been superb. Just right on. I have even though the tires are brand new, I have no issues whatsoever with the grip at 80 miles an hour on misty, foggy, rainy roads that the oil hasn't worn off yet. So I love it. It was very good riding on these tires. Now, I really, really would appreciate if you would like and subscribe to this channel if you're not already doing so. My content varies. Some of it is more product oriented, some of it's more experience oriented. I have some new stuff coming up, including a brief video about how effective the headlight is on the Fat Bob. I've gotten a lot of questions if that bar light makes a big difference, and I'll show you. So please follow along, and I hope to see you on the next video. Have a great one.